The night my tool shed was broken into, I lost every coin my father left me. That same week, my son-in-law bought a shiny new truck. I smiled at him and said nothing. But inside, I was already counting his days. A week later, he called me crying, "What have you done? I hate you." My revenge was slow, quiet, and it never missed. Before we start, hit subscribe and type the first letter of your name in the comments. Now let's begin. My name is Walter Combs. I am 68 years old. I fix old radios in my garage for fun. That night, I came home from fishing trip and found my back door wide open. My old metal lockbox was gone. Inside it had been $40,000 in cash, saved coin by coin for 30 years, plus my late wife's wedding ring. I stood in my garage a long time. My hands were shaking, but my mind stayed calm. I had taught math for 30 years before I retired. Numbers always calmed me down. I looked at the lock. No broken glass. No forced door. Someone had used a key. Only 3 people had a key to that garage. Me, my daughter, Nora, and her husband, Derek. Nora and Derek had been staying in my basement apartment for 8 months, ever since Derek lost his job at the warehouse. I called the police. A tired officer named Grant came to look around. He wrote in his little notebook and said the same thing every time. "No sign of forced entry, sir. This looks like an inside job." He looked at me like he already knew the answer, but couldn't say it out loud. When Officer Grant left, I walked down to the basement. Nora hugged me tight, but her hug felt stiff, like a coat that didn't fit right. Derek stood behind her, hands in his pockets, staring at the floor instead of my eyes. "This is awful, Walter," Derek said. His voice came out fast and jumpy. "Who would do this to you?" I just nodded slowly. I did not answer. I had spent 30 years watching students lie about homework. I knew a nervous voice when I heard one. That night, I opened my old laptop and made a new file. I named it Truck Money. I wrote down every strange thing I had noticed the past few weeks. Derek humming happy songs in the shower. Nora buying new curtains. Both of them smiling more than 2 broke people should smile. 3 days after the robbery, I was watering my tomato plants when a brand new red pickup truck rolled into my driveway. Derek jumped out, grinning ear to ear. "Got a great deal on it, Walter. Company bonus finally came through." I walked around that truck slowly, running my hand along the shiny paint. "Nice bonus," I said. "Must have been a big one." Derek laughed too loud. "Yeah, real big. Best year I've had." I smiled and told him congratulations. Inside, I was already doing math. Trucks like that don't come from warehouse bonuses. The next morning, I drove to Baxter's truck lot on 5th Street, the only dealer in town. I know the owner, old Sam Baxter, from my radio repair shop. "Morning, Sam. Did my son-in-law Derek buy a truck here?" Sam nodded. "Sure did. Paid $9,000 cash for the down payment. Told me it was inheritance money. $9,000. Cash. 3 days after my lockbox disappeared. I drove home with my hands tied on the wheel, but my face stayed calm. I had learned patience from fixing radios. You never rush a wire. You trace it slowly until you find a break. That evening, I invited Nora and Derek up for dinner. I made pot roast, Nora's favorite since she was a little girl. I set the table nice with cloth napkins, like it was a holiday. "Big news," Nora said, barely eating her food. "We found a house. A real house with a yard. A house," I said, keeping my voice light and warm. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. Where at?" "Maple Street," she said. "The one with the blue shutters." I knew that house. It had sold for $200,000 just last spring. Derek's warehouse job paid maybe $14 an hour. "How did you manage the down payment?" I asked, smiling like a proud father. Derek jumped in fast. "Savings mostly, and a little help from my uncle." I nodded slowly. I did not believe one single word of that sentence, but I kept smiling and passed the mashed potatoes. That night, alone in my study, I opened my file again. I wrote, "Truck down payment, $9,000. House down payment, likely $20,000 or more. Total missing so far, close to my whole lockbox." I closed my eyes and pictured my wife's face. I made her a quiet promise. I would get justice, even if it took all year. The next week, I visited my old friend Harold, who used to be a bank manager before he retired. We played chess every Thursday. "Harold," I said, moving my night, "if someone wanted to find out where a young couple got their house money, Legally, how would they start? Harold smiled. Public records, Walter. Mortgage papers are public. Anyone can look. Harold showed me how to search the county website on his old computer. We found it. Derek Owen Miller, buyer, house on Maple Street. Down payment $22,000, paid in cash. My missing money added up almost exactly. $31,000, gone into a truck and a house. That's strong evidence, Walter, Harold said, but it isn't proof for a courtroom. A judge needs more than good math. I nodded. I already knew that. Numbers alone don't win. You need pressure applied slowly in the right spot, like tightening a screw one turn at a time. Harold mentioned something interesting. Derek's little side business, mowing lawns on weekends, needed a town business license. Harold's nephew worked at the town office. A quick, friendly phone call told us Derek had never paid his $300 license fee. 2 years running. Small debt. Tiny, really. But in our town, unpaid business fees get sold to collectors after enough time passes. Harold explained that anyone could buy that little debt at the town's public sale. Whoever bought it became the person Derek legally owed money to. I paid $340 at the town office and bought Derek's debt under a business name Harold helped me set up, called Riverbend Holdings. Nobody would know it was me. Not yet. I tucked the paperwork in my desk drawer and waited, patient as ever. For the next month, I played my part well. I told Nora the police had given up the case. I told Derek I hoped they enjoyed their new house. I even helped them carry boxes on moving day, smiling the whole time, while my chest felt like a drum getting tighter. They moved into the blue house on Maple Street. Derek posted pictures online, standing by his new truck in the new driveway. Nora sent me photos of her painting the nursery yellow. They were expecting a baby. That news hit me harder than the robbery ever did. Still, I did not stop. A stolen future does not erase a stolen past. I visited them for the baby shower 2 weeks later, brought a gift, hugged my daughter, and shook Derek's hand firmly. Living the dream, huh, Derek? I said. He laughed nervously and looked away. That night, driving home, I passed the mowing business Derek still ran on weekends. His little trailer sat parked with lawnmowers inside, worth maybe $4,000 total. Small, but it was something real he owned outright, something a debt collector could legally attach. The next morning, I called Harold. Send the notice? I told him. Time to collect what's owed. 2 days later, an official letter arrived at Derek's house from Riverbend Holdings, demanding payment of the unpaid license debt, now grown with interest to $900. Derek called me that same evening, confused and worried. Walter, some company is sending me weird letters about an old business fee. $900. I don't even know what this is. I told him calmly. Sounds like you forgot to pay something, son. Better handle it quick. He paid it, grumbling the whole time, not knowing where the money truly went. That was never really about $900, though. It was about proving something to myself. If I could reach him quietly once, I could reach him again whenever I chose. A month passed. Then I got the call I had been waiting for. Harold's nephew mentioned that Derek had missed 2 truck payments in a row. The dealership was getting ready to repossess the red truck. Money troubles were finally catching up to a life built on my stolen coins. I did nothing to cause that part. Derek did it all himself, spending faster than he earned, buying a crib, a stroller, new tires, dinners out. A house built on stolen ground always shakes eventually. I simply stood back and watched the cracks appear. One evening, Nora called me crying. Dad, Derek lost his job. The warehouse let him go. We might lose the truck. I don't understand what's happening to us. I kept my voice gentle. Sweetheart, sometimes hard seasons come to test a family's true foundation. A week later, Derek showed up at my door, unshaven, eyes red. I need to talk to you, he said quietly. I let him in and offered him coffee. He sat at my kitchen table, the same table where he once ate my pot roast and lied about his bonus. Walter, he said, voice breaking, I took the money from your lockbox. I'm sorry. I was drowning in bills and I saw a way out, and I took it. I was going to pay you back, I swear. But everything's falling apart now, and I don't know what to do. I looked at him for a long moment. Already knew Derek. I've known for months. His face went pale. You knew? Then why didn't you say anything? Why did you let us buy the house, let Nora get excited about the baby? Because, I said, A lie needs room to grow before it falls over on its own. I didn't push you, Derek. I just stopped holding you up. You did the falling all by yourself. He put his head in his hands and cried right there at my table. The very next week, the phone rang. It was Derek, sobbing so hard I could barely understand him. What have you done? I hate you. We lost the truck. The bank is calling about the house. Nora is crying every single day. You did this to us. I let him finish. Then I spoke slowly and calmly, like I once spoke to nervous students before a big test. I didn't take anything from you, Derek. I only stopped protecting a secret that was never mine to protect. What you built with stolen coins was never truly yours. 2 months later, Nora and Derek sold a house on Maple Street to cover the mortgage and the truck debt. It hurt to watch, but it was fair. Nora moved back into my basement apartment with her baby girl. Derek found work again, humbler this time, and started paying me back $10 at a time every single week. I never told Nora the whole story behind the town debt or Riverbend holdings. Some secrets are mine to carry quietly. What mattered most was that the truth finally came out on its own, the way truth always does if you simply give it enough patient time. These days, my granddaughter sits on my workbench while I fix old radios, giggling every time one crackles to life. Derek still owes me money, but more than that, he owes me honesty, and every week he keeps his word a little more. My lockbox is gone, but something better grew in its place. If you like this story, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Daddy's Revenge for more true stories like this one, and tell me in the comments what you would have done in my shoes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next story.